So now that we've learned about variables, what we're going to do is build our first circuit. So we've seen with the blink program that we can make an LED on the board turn on and off, and now we're going to be able to make this decision based on us pressing a button. First, we need to know about digital pins. On the sides of the Arduino are these headers where we can access the different pins. We will be able to decide if they are an input or an output. An input will be able to measure if a voltage is high or low, and an output will allow us to make the pin either high or low. On the Arduino UNO, high is equal to 5 volts and low is equal to 0 volts, but this might change for different boards. As you can see on screen now, this is the most basic way to wire up a button, and this effectively allows us to measure either 5 volts or 0 volts depending on how it's connected. And so this green cable will be the one that is changed to either 0 or 5 volts. Now if we go back over to our camera and see that my Arduino is still blinking from before, first thing you want to do is unplug it. I would suggest the first thing you do in wiring up a circuit is power these rails along the side, because that makes it easy to get power in and out from all the different rows on the breadboard. So I'm going to wire up 5 volts and ground. Moving on from there, I'm going to place the button. Now the button goes across this gap down the center of the breadboard. Now that I've put the button in place, I'm going to put a resistor here attached to this bottom row of the button. The other side of this resistor, I'm going to wire it to ground. Then we're going to wire the other side of the button to power. And then on the side where we have the resistor connected is where we're going to be measuring from. And I'm going to put this into digital pin 10. Okay, so now that's all wired up, we can start programming it. To start programming it, we're going to need a few basic functions. And these functions are Arduino functions used to interact with these pins. We're going to need pin mode, and this is where we declare whether the pin will be an input or an output. This is similar to declaring a variable. We're going to need digital read, and that simply means to read from a digital pin. And we're going to need digital write, which is where we write a value of high or low to a pin, making that pin high or low. Okay, so now we're going to head over to the Arduino IDE, and we're going to make a new project. When we make a new project, it will give us setup and loop to help us out. But of course, we're going to have to put some more code in. The first thing I need to do when I actually start coding is declare the variables I'm going to use. So at the top of the file, I'm going to declare a bool, and this is going to be button. Now, Boolean, I talked about being true or false, where true is equal to high and false is equal to low. So effectively, our button can actually be true or false. In the setup, I'm going to initialize the pins. So we are going to use pin mode, as we talked about. We're going to type in LED built-in. Now, LED built-in, you can see it's colored a bit differently, is actually predefined by Arduino. I believe it's actually equivalent to writing 13 in code, but this is so it's easier to read. And we're going to put output. We're also going to use pin mode again for our button. Now we connected our button to pin 10, and we're going to declare it as an input. All right, so now we've done everything we need to do in setup. We're going to move to the loop. So effectively, what we want to do is we want to read the button, and then tell LED if button is pressed. So how we're going to do that in code is using our bool that we made before button. I'm going to say that button equals digital read of 10. So we're going to read pin 10, and the button is going to be set to that value. And then we're going to simply write that value out to the LED, writing it like that. So in the loop, we're going to go through the loop, we're going to read the pin with the button, set the button variable to that value, then we are going to write out to the LED on the board what the button is. Next thing we're going to do is plug in the Arduino again. And we're going to upload our code. And of course, save it. Now that we've uploaded the code, we can go to the camera and we can see if we press the button, the onboard LED will turn on. Now, when you're doing this, make sure that the button is properly connected into the board. If it's slightly loose, you'll get a noisy signal where it might not behave like you expect. So make sure it's properly pressed into the board. Now, if you've got that circuit to work, good job. Being able to create a circuit and create a program that works together can be quite difficult and can take some time. So if not, let us know on Slack if you've got any questions and if we can help. But this type of thing is exactly what mechatronics is about, what robotics is about, and to a degree what electronics and software engineering is about. So these are the fundamentals that everything else is built on.